Have you ever noticed the strange feeling of discomfort when you hear your own voice played back to you from a recording device? It is a common experience that almost everyone shares regardless of where they live or what language they speak. We often feel a sense of surprise or even a slight embarrassment because the person we hear on the recording does not sound like the person we hear inside our own heads. This happens because we actually possess multiple versions of our voice that exist at the same time. Most of us go through our entire lives believing that the sound we produce is a single stable thing, but the reality is much more complex and fascinating. When we speak, we are not just making a noise, we are sharing a piece of our identity that changes depending on who is listening. Think about how you speak when you are comforting a small child or a pet. Your tone becomes soft and the melody of your words shifts into something gentle. Now compare that to how you speak during a formal meeting or when you are trying to impress someone you admire. The way you project your voice changes and the rhythm of your sentences becomes different. This is because our voice is a social tool that adapts to our surroundings and our relationships. If we were to record a small sample of your speech, an expert could likely guess who you were talking to just by the subtle changes in your pitch and energy. You have a voice for your parents and a different voice for your best friends. You have a voice for your colleagues and another one for total strangers. This external voice is what the world hears, but it is often a mystery to us because we do not hear it the same way others do. The journey of sound from our mouths to our brains is not as simple as we might think. To understand why we feel so disconnected from our own recorded voice, we have to look at the physical journey sound takes. When you hear another person speak, the sound waves travel through the air and enter your ears. This is a very direct path. However, when you speak yourself, the sound has two different ways to reach your brain. One path is through the air just like everyone else hears, but the second path is through your own body. The vibrations from your vocal cords travel through the bones in your skull. This process is known as bone conduction. Because bone is more solid than air, it changes the quality of the sound. It makes your voice sound deeper and richer to you than it actually sounds to anyone else. It adds a certain warmth and musicality that only you can perceive. When you listen to a recording, that internal physical connection is gone and you are left with only the thin sound that traveled through the air. This creates a sudden realization that the rich, deep voice you thought you had is actually different in the outside world. Beyond the physical path of the sound, there is also a mechanical process happening inside your head. Every time you open your mouth to speak, your body tries to protect itself. There is a small biological partition that moves to shield your inner ear from the intensity of your own voice. It acts like a tiny natural filter that dampens the volume. This means you are never actually hearing the full power or the true texture of your voice while you are speaking. It is as if you are listening to music through a thick wall while everyone else is in the room with the speakers. But the most interesting part of this mystery is not just physical, it is also biological. Our ears are made of living cells that react to sound in specific ways. These cells have a memory of sorts. If they hear the same sound over and over again, they begin to pay less attention to it. This is a natural habituation effect that helps us focus on new or important information in our environment. Since your own voice is the sound you hear more than any other sound in your life, your brain eventually decides to tune it out. You stop noticing the details of your own speech because it has become a constant background noise. In a way, you are biologically programmed to be a stranger to your own voice. This creates a hidden gap between how we see ourselves and how the world sees us. We walk around with an internal image of our identity that is literally tuned to a different frequency than reality. This is not just about sound, it is about the nature of perception itself. We often assume that our senses give us a perfect reflection of the world, but our senses are actually filters. They choose what to let in and what to change. This gap between the internal and external self can be a source of anxiety, but it can also be a source of wonder. It reminds us that there is always more to a person than what they can see or hear of themselves. We are constantly communicating things we might not even be aware of. When you feel that spark of dislike for your recorded voice, it is actually a moment of discovery. You are meeting a version of yourself that has been living out in the world independently of your own awareness. It is a reminder that we are not just single solid beings but a collection of different versions that interact with the world in unique ways. Imagine you are walking through a crowded market. You hear a recording of someone speaking, and for a split second you do not realize it is you. In that moment, you are seeing yourself from the outside for the first time. It is a rare chance to step out of your own skin and witness your own presence as others do. This realization can change the way we think about communication. It is not just about the words we choose, but about the invisible signals we send through the vibrations of our air. We spend so much time worrying about our appearance or our clothes, but we rarely think about the physical energy of our voice that touches the ears of others. This hidden part of ourselves is always active and always changing. It reflects our emotions, our health, and our hidden intentions. If we can learn to accept the difference between our internal and external voices, we can start to bridge the gap between our private self and our public self. We can begin to listen to ourselves with more curiosity and less judgment. The next time you hear a recording of your voice, try not to turn away in embarrassment. Instead, try to listen to it as if you are meeting a new friend. Listen to the rhythm and the small shifts in tone. Recognize that this version of you is the one that connects you to the people you love and the work you do. It is a bridge between your inner thoughts and the outer world. Even though your biology tries to hide it from you, it is a vital part of who you are. We live in a world where we are constantly told to know ourselves, but perhaps there are parts of ourselves that we are not meant to know fully. Perhaps the mystery of our own voice is a gift that keeps us humble and reminds us that we are always more than we think we are. We are made of layers of sound and vibration and bone and living cells, all working together to create a unique signature in the air. This signature is your contribution to the symphony of human life. It is your unique vibration that no one else can replicate. When you speak, you are participating in a massive, complex web of interactions that go far beyond the simple act of talking. You are using your body as an instrument to reach out and touch another person. The fact that you hear it differently is just a small quirk of nature that makes the experience even more special. It means that you have a private version of yourself that belongs only to you, while the rest of the world gets to enjoy the version you share with them. There is a quiet beauty in this separation. It allows us to have a private inner life while still being fully present in the lives of others. As you go through your day and talk to different people, notice how your voice moves and changes. Notice the warmth you feel in your chest when you laugh and the way the sound resonates in your head. Do not worry about how it sounds to the outside world for a moment. Just feel the physical sensation of being a creature that can produce sound. Consider the incredible journey that every word takes, from a thought in your mind to a vibration in the bones of your skull and finally to a wave of air that travels to someone else. It is a miracle of biology and physics that we often take for granted. By paying attention to these small details, we can become more grounded in our own bodies and more aware of our impact on those around us. We can learn to value the hidden parts of our identity just as much as the parts we can see in the mirror. After all, the person people hear when you speak is the person they know and care about. That voice is associated with your kindness, your humor, and your unique perspective. It is the sound of your presence in their lives. Even if it sounds strange to you, it sounds like home to them. This realization can help us be more gentle with ourselves when we feel that initial shock of hearing a recording. We are simply hearing the version of us that the world has already accepted and embraced. It is a version that carries our history and our hopes in every syllable. So we must ask ourselves, how would our lives change if we finally started to listen to ourselves with the same kindness and curiosity that we offer to the voices of others?